I want this video to be everything I wish I'd heard when I had acne. I have tried to make it as concise as possible without missing key information that you might be able to relate to or find useful. The thought of one day sharing my story and helping others was something that partly got me through having acne. To give some context and show that acne is as much a mental condition as it is a physical condition, it's worth mentioning here that before I got acne, I was a very confident individual, an outgoing social person, practiced self-love and preferred natural minimal makeup, and was even anti-makeup when growing up. I was also a paid model for the 4 years leading up to me having acne, and a lot of my confidence was based on me appreciating my appearance. It has been approximately 2 years since I started my acne journey, back when I was about 21, so have been able to reflect back on what I believe started it all off, and I've put it down to 2 main things. First one, experimenting with makeup, basically going OTT with makeup, and I say this because before I did not do contouring and highlighting, I did not have any spots, and when I first started to get acne, it was in a line on my cheeks where I typically did contouring. Also being lazy when it came to removing makeup, as I would often leave makeup on if I thought that I did it really well and I didn't think I could replicate it the next day. This did no favours for my skin, and I imagine it caused my pores to get blocked over time. And by the way, I only did this OTT makeup for a few months, so it just shows how quickly the skin can react. And the second thing is comparing myself to others and my previous self, leading to increased stress and anxiety that I had never experienced before. I noticed that in the months leading up to me having acne, I had started to compare myself to others and see myself in a more negative way, and feel that even when I did wear makeup, I didn't look good enough to meet the beauty standards of the online world. I felt that the selfies I took were not good enough to post on Instagram, and went weeks and even months without posting a photo, which in today's world of social media is kind of unheard of. I also noticed that I became very emotional when preparing for a photo shoot or YouTube video, and would often get teary when applying makeup, already feeling that I was not good enough in appearance to be in front of the camera. For photo shoots, we would have to stop before we even started, as my eyes were too watery and made every photo I took look like I was sad, which was not something I wanted to share on Instagram or share with the world that expects perfection. For YouTube videos, I just froze and was unable to speak or even introduce myself because I felt paralysed by self-critical and negative thoughts, like there being no point of me recording, as no one would want to listen to me, and I would not be able to hold their attention because my beauty was not good enough. So from my experience, if you want to avoid getting acne, only wear makeup if you really need to, and keep it minimal, and wash your makeup off every day. Also, don't compare yourself to others or your previous self, and practice self-love. When I first started to notice spots, as said before, they were in a line on my cheekbones, and initially I didn't pay them any attention, as I assumed my skin would go back to normal soon without doing anything. My face got worse very quickly, and for a long time I tried to get rid of my spots in a natural way, as I didn't want to do a treatment that was too harsh on my skin, as I was scared of making my skin worse. From this point onwards, for a year or so, I did not wear any makeup because I thought it would trigger my skin. I tried recommended treatments, including diluted tea tree oil, aloe vera, Proactive, and numerous treatments recommended by YouTubers and products on eBay and Amazon that had good reviews. But none seemed to help my acne, and in fact it made my acne worse. But despite that, I persisted that I wanted something that was natural because I thought my skin would respond better to that. After a few more months of trying lots of treatments and my skin continuing to get worse, I did something I thought I wouldn't do and got drugs from my doctor in the hope that it would get rid of the acne. For someone who didn't want to be pumped with drugs, this was a big step for me in admitting that my natural methods were not successful. My doctor prescribed me the antibiotic Lymecycline, which took about 2 months to start to work, which was frustrating, but my doctor did make me aware that it often takes this long to work before he gave it to me. After taking it for about 3 months, my acne started to clear, and I was so happy to finally have clear skin after all the trauma I'd gone through. And I did think, why didn't I do this earlier? After my skin cleared, I took the antibiotic for another 2 more weeks, even though my doctor advised to take it for another 4 more months, which sounded crazy to me, as I did not want to take it for longer than necessary, and I also felt guilty for taking antibiotics for my acne, which was seen by the world as something that was cosmetic and not a life-threatening condition that needed antibiotics. I also really hated being on drugs and wanted to be off them as soon as I could, after reading stories of people who had been on antibiotics for years for their acne, and even my doctor saying that I may need to be on them for life to keep my acne under control. Anyway, a month or so went by of me having clear skin, and I thought I was out of the horrible time of having acne. One day I noticed a few spots, and the next day it felt like I had 10, and the next day 20 or so. My acne was back and way worse than ever. Before, the acne took months to develop that I didn't notice how bad it had become unless I looked back on previous photos of myself. Now, within a few days, it was back to almost as bad as it was at its worst. So without going to my GP, I started taking antibiotics again, since I still had a few more boxes left from the previous prescription. Fortunately, when I started to take the tablets, after about 6 weeks, my skin started to get back to normal. This time, I decided to get another 2 months antibiotics from my doctor and told myself I would take them religiously right to the last tablet. But my thoughts kicked in when I had a week and a half left of tablets, and I just couldn't stand to take any more. The antibiotics don't just affect the bacteria on the face, they also affect the whole body. I thought the antibiotics being pumped unnecessarily around my whole body was just too much, and decided I needed to try something that was more direct, that affected just my acne on my face. And I feared that if I went back to my doctor after finishing my prescription, he would just prescribe me to be on them for life, and this didn't tie in with me wanting to live a life hormone and drug free as possible. I then went on to using my common sense in thinking of something that would kill the bacteria on my face. I looked through the cupboards to see if I had anything at home and found TCP. I started using undiluted TCP on my skin, which made it sting, until I realised that I was supposed to dilute it, which I did by wetting some tissue first and then adding some TCP on it. I found that this helped to halt the acne by some degree, and I started feeling optimistic about having a natural cure, and I thought that I'd beat the experts by not pumping my body with drugs. When some acne didn't go away and stayed for weeks on end, I tried using a little bit of Sudocrem, which worked for a while and made my bumpy skin feel a little smoother. Eventually, it made my skin a bit more oily and the problem started again, and just using diluted TCP like I had before didn't have the same effect as before. It was like my skin had become immune to my efforts. After a few more months of my skin not getting better and starting to get worse again, I just plain gave up and had no hope of my skin getting better. I had basically accepted that this was the new me and that I would not be getting better and I would just have to live with me looking the way I did. I tried to make myself have self-love and followed lots of accounts of people with varying issues that were loving themselves publicly online, and told myself to do this too. I posted a lot of throwback photos of myself pre-acne on my Instagram because I couldn't post any fresh photos of myself. My confidence was at an all-time low, and to be honest, even though my skin is so much more improved today, I still have a long way to go with building my self-confidence back up again. I suppose like an obese person that has lost all the weight and is now healthy may still see themselves as the obese person, I look at myself as if I still have acne. I couldn't understand why the acne was only on my face. I would always feel compelled to pick the spots I had when they had been on my face bugging me for too long, and have a voice telling me that picking the spots was justified as I would reduce the amount of pus on my face and flatten the spots. Although this flattening was only temporary before the swelling kicked in, and I would immediately regret picking the spots, knowing that I would have increased my risk of scarring, and knew that the next day I would be faced with 2 or 3 new spots and the picking process would start all over again. I know that it makes no common sense to pick the spots, but when I was looking in the mirror, the impatience kicked in, and for that moment I wanted to be rid of the spots and couldn't wait for the treatments to work, and it gave me some temporary relief. Although in retrospect, I wish I hadn't picked my skin, as that would have probably made my indentation scarring less, and also the pain of picking the spots was bad. However, I know I was not in the headspace to be thinking logically or realistically, so although it was bad, I do understand why I did it and forgive myself, because having the acne was so stressful and I just wanted it gone at any cost. I wanted instant gratification and was not concerned about the consequences, as I was just thinking at that moment in time, not about the future. I even considered getting a razor at one point to cut off the acne. A whole bunch of things crossed my mind, and I think it's clear to say that the acne made me very irrational. To cut a very long story short, my experience of acne was one of the lowest points in my life. There were a few occasions when I was feeling unbearably low that I thought, what was the point in me living if I was going to look like this or have the scarring I knew I would have once the acne was gone. I mourned for the beautiful face that I once had and didn't fully take advantage of or appreciate. I didn't meet up with friends or see family as often as I used to, as I felt that the condition of my skin was a reflection of how I was doing in life as a person, and I did not want to look less than successful to them with nothing positive to talk about. When I plucked up the courage to go shopping for essentials, I felt so ugly and like a tramp no matter how well I dressed. The hundreds of eyes I felt on me, which was probably paranoia, made me feel small, weak and insignificant. My thoughts every day were about my hopeless skin, and it exhausted me to my core. I so desperately wanted to be invisible. From this, I hope you can see that, at least from my perspective, acne has a major mental aspect to it as well as physical, and I'm yet to meet someone who has managed to get through acne without being mentally affected by it at some point. moment. I cannot remember exactly what made me get out of my paralysing negative cycle of thoughts, but there was a change at some point to my thinking. And I think a conversation I had with my nan reminded me about the things I used to say to her, like beauty is only skin deep and it's what's inside that counts, may have had something to do with it. My nan's approach was to snap out of it and to think positively, and although this was hard to accept at first, I came to realise that if I continued to think negatively, I would always spiral down a negative path and never get better. I had become sick of thinking negatively after being well known to those around me as the positive, optimistic one. So I decided that enough was enough and I would change my ways because I couldn't bear to live another day feeling sorry for myself because that was not helping me. The big change for me came when I started to think positively about my skin getting better. It may sound daft to some, but the mind is powerful, and I think there is a big connection to thinking things into reality. I think that if I continued to think that my skin would not get better, then I would most likely still have active acne to this very day and poor mental health because of it. I started to say that if I had a new spot, it was on holiday and would be going away soon. This might sound crazy, but it helped me to not pick the spots and therefore reduce scarring and pigmentation. I also actively tried to improve my skin and looked into getting a skincare routine and sticking to it. I followed this for a week or so and started to notice my spots becoming less red, less inflamed and smaller in size. I decided not to celebrate just yet, as this had happened before with the antibiotics, but fortunately, as long as I continued with my skincare and positive attitude towards my skin continued to get better. I still remember the day when I was washing my face, and for the first time in over a year, the skin on my forehead was smooth and clear, no bumps. A few more weeks passed, and finally the less severe side of my cheek was also clear and smooth. Then a month or so later, and my other cheek was also clear. All the positive self-talk and sticking to my routine every day, even when I was tired and just wanted to go to bed, was worth it, as my skin was now free of active acne. To this day, I am grateful that the acne is gone, but due to my past experiences of it coming back, I am reluctant to completely relax. So at least for the next few years, after being traumatized by the experience, I will be sticking to my skincare routine and prioritizing my self-care, because that is the only way I can pretty much guarantee to keep my acne at bay. Acne is caused by clogged pores of too much oil and dead skin cells. So what you want to do is to make your skin have less oil and less dead skin cells. So you need to do things that dry out your skin and use things that will get rid of your dead skin cells. This is how you'll get rid of your acne. You will have to choose the lesser evil of dry skin at least to start off with. I'll now share with you the treatments I use to get rid of my acne, but just remember everyone's skin is different and what worked for me may not work for you, but I hope it does. First thing, washing my face morning and night with soapy lukewarm water or cool water. I never use hot water, as it helps to unclog my pores by removing excess oil and dead skin cells and keep my skin on the dry side rather than oily. The soap I use and cannot recommend enough is the Keep It Clean 10% Sulphur Soap by Wide Face. This soap has been a big help to save my skin, and it also comes in a card box, which is a lot better for the environment. Also using Acnecide, which is benzoyl peroxide 5% gel, in a thin layer on my active acne, which to start off with was my entire face, but now I hardly have to use it because the acne is gone and I only use it on small spots before they turn into anything bigger than that. This was prescribed by my doctor and was a game changer, as it helped to dry out my skin, meaning that although my face was still annoyingly bumpy for many weeks, I did not get any new acne. My skin did get very dry and flaky for a time, but I think it was a necessary evil to get past the bumpy skin, which I believe was the active acne slowly shrinking due to the benzoyl peroxide. I used this twice a day, morning and night. This is something I started to use after most of the active acne had gone away, but it still helped. Clay masks using 100% pure Bentonite Indian healing clay mixed with water or apple cider vinegar for 10 minutes on the face and then wash it off. This is designed to attach itself to the differently charged toxins on your face and remove them when you wash your face. Due to the clay being more effective with the charge it naturally has, you have to avoid using metal spoons, as it can change the charge of the clay and make it less effective or not effective at all. And also my skin feels a lot tighter and my pores look visibly smaller. If I had any spots before using it, they will go down a little bit, and I mainly use this for keeping my skin clear. I also use Austin Hyaluronic Acid with vitamin C and green tea as my moisturiser, as this is great for hydration and it's also oil free. Skin positivity has been crucial to my recovery, so I will do what I can to keep that going. I also use Austin Retinol Serum with hyaluronic acid and vitamin E. This is to help improve the health of my skin, help new skin to resettle resurface and prevent aging. I use it almost every day, not every day as I am told it is strong stuff, and I like to give my skin a little break sometimes. It is supposed to also help with the skin texture, like removing scarring and wrinkles and also preventing them, so it's good for anyone, not just someone that's got skin issues. I use an acid peel by The Ordinary. It's the 30% AHA and 2% BHA for exfoliation. This is a red acid that I put on my face for about 10 minutes. It helps to remove the dead skin cells on my face and also remove toxins from my pores. The effect it has on reducing pigmentation is really good in my case. There are some other things I do to prevent my acne coming back and ensuring healthy skin that you may find helpful. Wear high SPF sun protection on my face when I go out to protect it from the harmful rays of the sun that cause aging. Plait my hair before I go to sleep. This helps me to prevent the oil of my hair going onto my face. Wash my pillows on a regular basis. Wash my face with the soap that I use more than just morning and night if my face seems extra oily on a given day. As best as possible, try to eat a healthy plant-based diet, but not be too hard on myself if I eat unhealthily. Clean my phone and phone case with antibacterial spray, as phones can be a source of bacteria that can be easily transferred to your face when you take a phone call. I also try to keep my stress down to a minimum, since I believe this may have triggered my acne in the first place. I only wear minimal makeup and try not to wear makeup every day, and always thoroughly wash it off. I also wash my makeup brushes with the soap that I use on my face after about every 3 uses or so. It also helps my makeup to apply better when it's clean. I don't pick my spots. I try my best not to touch my face, although this is hard as it is a habit I've developed over the years and my nan is always telling me off for it. I try to wash my hands as often as I can and also wash around my mouth after I've eaten, as I have a theory that the oil from the food that I eat can get onto my skin and potentially cause spots to form, particularly on my chin area. When I shower, I wash my hair first and then clean my body and my face with the soap that I've mentioned to get rid of the shampoo residues on my skin that could trigger it to react. I also avoid getting too hot, as heat can trigger the acne bacteria, so I don't take hot showers and I don't use saunas. If I do exercise and I feel my face warming up, I wash my face with cool water to cool it back down. I think that is everything I can think of to share with you, but if I have missed anything, I will add it to the box below, so be sure to check it out for any updates or information I think you will find helpful. Thank you for taking the time to hear my acne story. I hope it has showed that there is light at the end of the tunnel, even if you feel hopeless sometimes. You can get through it. You just have to keep a positive mindset and stick to a skincare routine that works for you. If you would like to, please like and subscribe so you can keep updated on my journey. I hope you have a great day. Please stay positive. Goodbye.